Hare Krishna devotees, thank you for joining this evening for pre-celebration of Narasimha Chaturdashi, which is coming soon, approaching very soon on Saturday, May 18th, May 14th. So today is second day of the pre-celebration, and we will have two very wonderful Vaishnavis presenting today, Sridevi Mataji and Veena Mataji. So we'll begin the program with Sridevi Mataji's presentation. Sridevi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I'll just start my prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, there are a lot of lessons we can learn from Prahlad Maharaj life, Hiranyakashipu and Narasimha Deva's appearance. So we'll see some of the teachings by Prahlad Maharaj, what he has given to his fellow students, and some lessons we can learn from Hiranyakashipu as well. So Hiranyakashipu, he is such a great demon, and he has done lot of austerities, penances, and occupied a lot of wealth, fame, and he covered lot of heavenly planets. And in spite of getting such a high power, he is still not satisfied. So Sukadev Goswami here says, like sa itam nirjita kako ekarat vishayan priyan yeto pajo sambunjano na atripyat ajitendriya. So na atripyat is not satisfied. Since because his senses are not controlled by him, the senses are he remind his servant of the senses. So similarly in this world we can see like lot of people who are materially so advanced, they accumulate lot of wealth and power, they will live a so much comfortable life, but even then they won't be satisfied. And that is because without Krishna consciousness, without advanced in the spiritual life, materialist, we cannot be satisfied with just money and power. So Hiranyakashipu is just an example for that dissatisfied state of humanity. On the other hand, if we see Prahlad, he is such a great devotee son of Hiranyakashipu, and he is like he's a devotee right from a very small age, right from the birth. He is the great devotee of the Lord, and hence he knows the value of this life and how one has to escape from the cycle of birth and death. He knows the urgency of that soul to come out of this cycle of birth and death, and hence he teaches in various forms. He even teaches his father, like he tells so many devotional services we have to do to come out of this material suffering. He is very compassionate towards everyone. Although his father did so many suffering, gave so many sufferings to him, he still wants to teach his father also. And during his class time, when the teachers are not around, he wants to give this valuable teachings to his fellow friends. So we'll see some of the teachings by Prahlad Maharaj. So Shri Prahlad Uvacha Kaumara Acharat Pragno Dharman Bhagavatan Iha Durlabam Manusham Janma Tadabi Adruvam Artadam. He says that this getting this human body of life is very, very rarely achieved. Although this human body is also temporary, but getting that form of life is very rare. And only in the human form of life we can at least do some devotional services. In other forms of insects, plants, animals, we cannot do that much devotional service and revive our forgotten relationship with the Lord. So here Prahlad Maharaj says, like, as souls, we have been wandering like 8 lakhs 40,000 species of life. We would have taken birth like a lion, elephant, a plant, an insect, and means now we have got this human life. And since we have got this, we should not waste our human life in doing in just accumulating wealth and money and waste this life. To escape from the cycle of birth and death, we have to engage in the Krishna consciousness right from the young age. That's what Prahlad Maharaj says. We have to use this human form of body from the very beginning of life, from the tender age of childhood. And he says like there is a natural intimate relationship between the souls and the supreme personality of Godhead. So the goal of the education in this material world should be actually to revive that eternal relationship, and nothing, not anything else. The teachers were teaching Prahlad how to fight with enemies, how to get power. Those are all not at all required. What we have to do is only to revive our eternal relationship. So the first teaching is given by Prahlad is this human body is so valuable. Please don't waste that in doing some other unwanted activities. Just have that urgency to, we have, as a soul, we have got this human body. So we have to take that Krishna consciousness process and come out of this cycle of birth and death. That's the first teaching by Prahlad Maharaj. And he continues. सुखम ऐन्द्रियकं दैत्या देहयोगेन देहिनां सर्वत्र लभ्यते दैवत यथा दुःखम अयत्नताम्. So Prahlad Maharaj says here, like, my dear friends, born of demoniac families, the happiness perceived with reference to the sense objects by contact with the body can be obtained in any form of life, according to one's past fruitive activities. Such happiness is automatically obtained without endeavor, just as we obtain distress. So the very important lesson he says is like, nowadays the material world teaches us to be happy, just go strive for happiness, endeavor for happiness. But Prahlad says that laws of material nature is so designed that happiness and distress are going to come, it is predestined. If we know that, okay, 4 days I'm happy, the next 2 days something is going to come, I'll be knowing that. And if I am so distressed, so under pressure, with the managers or anything, we will be knowing that, okay, the situation will calm down and we will get the happiness. So the happiness and distress are going to come, means anyway it will have come. As we don't go and endeavor for the distress, we don't have to go and endeavor for the happiness as well. It will any automatically come. So what we have to do is we have to redirect our struggle only in advancing to the devotion to Supreme Lord Vishnu. So that's the second important lesson. And we have to, while doing that, we have to start doing this at the very small age. We should not wait till the retirement to study Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. We have to do this at now itself, because old age we will not be knowing, like some neck pain, knee pain, leg pain, everything is going to come. So when the body is strong, when we are mentally and physically happy, we have to start our devotional service. And the next lesson, Prahlad gives us a math, like how person, how he gets 100 years of life and how we have to divide that life. He says like, Pumso Varsha Satam hi ayustad ardam sajitatmana nispalam yada shauratriyam setyandam prapitasthama. Every human being gets at least 100 years of life. There is no guarantee, but at least if we get 100 years of life, what we are doing is half of those life we are spending in sleep. Sleep means just we will not even know what happened. So it's only full of ignorance, tamaguna. So it is covered with ignorance. If we spend half of our 12 hours in sleep, then 50 years is already lost. And another 10 years, like a childhood, we will not even know what it is. We don't even know how to change our dress, to put our clothes on. So that first 10 years will be spent in exploring the world, and then boyhood, finding new friends, playing sports. All the 10 years are lost. Last 20 years, so it's again like old age, will not be physically and mentally strong. We would have got lot of pains, headache, leg pain, knee pain, everything would have come. So that 20 years are also lost. So 50 plus 10 plus 10, 20, 90 years are already lost. So at least we are left with only 10 years. So with that 10 years, at least if we don't start our Krishna consciousness and we just accumulate wealth and pursue material happiness, then this full life is totally lost. Again, we have to take another birth, another birth, another birth. We have been doing this from lifetime after a lifetime. So hence Prahlad Maharaj is asking us to get this knowledge and start Krishna consciousness at the means at the very moment. Whenever we have this knowledge, we have to start this. So this is the third important lesson. And he's further explaining how his householder life is actually bounding us. So ko graheshu puman shaktam atmanama jitendriya sneha pasaidridair bhaddam utsahate vimochitum. So in an householder life, a family of a husband and wife, there is a good relationship between them, and means we'll be having kids, children, so we'll be worried about them, and we have to work for the welfare of the family, and we'll be having our parents, and everything is like only a strong ropes of affection. That's what Maharaj says. And it is impossible to give up that association also. And because of that, because we are so much preoccupied with the family, working for the family, getting good education to the kids, and our real purpose of life is not served. So Prahlad Maharaj strongly urges his friends to take shelter of Narayana, because the ultimate goal of devotees should be freeing from this material bondage. So since because we are in Grahastha ashrama, as a family we have to do this devotional service, and hence there can be like detached attachment, and we have to take up this devotional service. And as a family, if we do that, then that the purpose of human life will be served. So to recognize that, we have to contemplatively ask all these questions: what I am striving for, why I am not happy, what is the purpose of my life, why do I suffer? All these questions we have to means inquire within ourselves and try to get the answers. Once we try to get the answers, then we will know that what is the actual purpose of our life, and then we can take up the devotional service. So this is the important lesson given by Prahlad Maharaj. And he says how we can please Narayana, because in the last lesson he was saying like pleasing Narayana is the ultimate goal of the human life. So how we can do that? Na hi achyutam pranayato ahasyo shuratmaja atmat tat sarva bhutanam siddhatpatiha sarvatam. My dear sons of demons, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, is the original Super Soul, the father of all living entities. Consequently, there are no impediments to pleasing him or worshipping him under any conditions, whether he can be a child or an old man. And relationship between living entities and the Supreme Personality of Godhead is always a fact. And there is no difficulty in pleasing the Lord also. So he gives two important things without impediment. We don't have to have any hindrance to approach and please Narayana, because he is the super soul of all living entities. And there is no difficulty, because it is eternal. The relationship between us and the Supreme God is eternal, so there won't be any difficulty. At least pleasing the family members, office managers, that might be difficult, but pleasing Narayana is very very easy. We just have to chant his holy name, because he lacks nothing. He doesn't even require anything from us. He just asks us only the love and bhakti from us. So even the tiniest expression of love towards him will be sufficient to please Narayana. He is the natural father of all living entities. And hence Prahlad advises friends to work for the satisfaction of Lord Narayana. Instead of satisfying so many other things, we just have to satisfy him, and he's beyond material conceptions of knowledge. And surrendering to Lord Narayana is the transcendental process. He says that how we can get that confidential knowledge is only through an acharya. So because Prahlad got this confidential knowledge through Narada. Similarly, when we are in this disciplic succession, we will also gain that confidential knowledge, and approaching the God, the transcendental process will be very easy if we are in disciplic succession, and we can start our devotional service at the very moment. So, Shrutam etanmaya purvam jnanam vijnana samyutam dharmam bhagavatam suddham naradadeva darshanad. Prahlad Maharaj says here, I received this knowledge from the great saint Narada Muni, who is always engaged in devotional service. This knowledge, which is called Bhagavata Dharma, is fully scientific. It is based on logic and philosophy, and it is free from all material contamination. Hence, Prahlad Maharaj says, like, I have received this knowledge from Narada Muni, and this is the Bhagavata Dharma. This is the Dharma everybody, as a human form, we have to follow this Dharma, and this is fully scientific, based on logic and philosophy. It's not just superstitious. It has the philosophy and knowledge, and it is free from all material contamination. Hence, don't waste this valuable human form of body, and just utilize in the attaining supreme destination, the transcendental abode of Supreme Personality of Godhead, by taking up the Krishna consciousness. This is the Bhagavad Dharma. So these are the teachings by Prahlad Maharaj. Thank you very much for the opportunity, Mataji, and I'll stop, Sheila. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much for the wonderful class. You have very nicely summarized all the teachings of Prahlad Maharaj, how important human form of life is. It's so rare, very precious opportunity that we have been awarded, and how happiness and distress come, they're part of material life and they will come automatically. So we should redirect our struggle in advancing in Krishna consciousness. And then how our, although even though we may live for 100 years, which is the maximum, so many years are gone as childhood, in our childhood and boyhood and youth and old age. We are just left with the 10 precious years, which we should utilize. And then how we are preoccupied with family life, and how we should take shelter of Lord Narayan as a whole, family as a whole, and progress together. That's the real purpose of human life. And taking shelter of, there's no hindrance or impediments in taking shelter of, in pleasing Lord Narayan, because it's an eternal relationship. And how Bhagavad Dharma is scientific and applies to everyone. It's not just a belief or something. So thank you so much, Mataji, Sridevi Mataji, for the wonderful class. Now we'll move on to another wonderful presentation by Veena Mataji. We'll hear from her. Veena Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna devotees. I would like to thank Satyasara Prabhu, Jai Subhadra Mataji, and all the devotees here for giving me this opportunity. Today I'll be speaking from Canto 7, Chapter 5, verse 23 and 24. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shri Prahlad Vacha. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. Smaranam Pada Sevanam. Archanam Vandanam Dasyam. Sakyam Atmanivedanam. Iti Pumsarpita Vishnu. Bhaktis Jaina Navalakshana. Kriyeta Bhagavate Adha. Tanmanye Dhitam Uttamam. What it means is, Prahlad Maharaj is saying here, hearing and chanting about the transcendental holy name, form, qualities, paraphernalia, and pastimes of Lord Vishnu, remembering them, serving the lotus feet of Lord, offering the Lord respectful worship with 16 types of paraphernalia, offering prayers to the Lord, becoming his servant, considering the Lord one's best friend, and surrendering everything onto him. In other words, serving him with the mind, body, and words. These 9 processes are accepted as pure devotional service. One who has dedicated his life to the service of Krishna through these 9 methods should be understood to be the most learned person, for he has acquired complete knowledge. This is a very famous verse of Prahlad Maharaj, which clearly mentions the 9 methods of devotional service one needs to perform to serve the Supreme Lord. Here in this verse, Prahlad Maharaj is talking how to perform these 9 devotional services. A pure devotee is interested only in devotional service, not in material affairs. The Gopal Tapni Upanishad says that the word bhakti means engagement in devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not of anyone else. Work performed simply for satisfaction of Supreme Lord without any material benefit is bhakti. If a devotee performs even just one of these 9 processes without deviation, he can attain the mercy of Krishna. Now let's look at each of the devotional services one by one. So the first one is Shravana. Hearing of the holy name of the Lord is the beginning of devotional service. Although any one of the 9 processes is sufficient, but hearing is the first. Hearing the holy name of the Lord is the first process. It's very essential. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Chetu Darpanam Archanam. By chanting the holy name of the Lord, one is cleansed of the material conception of life, which is due to the dirty modes of material nature. When dirt is cleansed from the core of one's heart, one can realize the form of the Lord. Just like you all are hearing today. This is the beginning of devotional life. Shravanam about whom? Shravanam not of politics. If there's a political meeting, thousands of men will go to hear. That is also Shravanam. But in Shastras, it is recommended Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, to hear about Vishnu, Krishna, not anything else. If someone says, yes, I'm also performing Shravanam, I'm hearing a political meeting, no, that's not a real hearing. Shravanam has to be everything pertaining to Vishnu and hearing from proper authentic sources. Hearing from the text of Srimad Bhagavatam is considered the most important process of hearing. Srimad Bhagavatam is full of transcendental chanting of the holy name, and therefore the chanting and hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam is transcendentally full of mellows. The next process is Kirtanam. Kirtanam is chanting holy names. The process of chanting can be easily performed by anyone. Even if one is physically unfit, classified as lower than others, and devoid of any material qualifications or not at all elevated in terms of pious activities, still the chanting of holy name is beneficial. An aristocratic birth or a lot of education or beautiful bodily features, wealth or performing pious activities are all unnecessary for advancement of spiritual life, because one can easily advance simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord. Scriptures say in this age of Kali Yuga, people are generally short-living, have bad habits, and are generally inclined to accept methods of devotional service, which are not bona fide. Also, they are always disturbed by material conditions, and they are mostly unfortunate. Under such circumstances, the performance of processes like yagna, dana, tapa, kriya, sacrifices, charity, and so on are not at all possible. Therefore, it is recommended, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Naimaiva Kevalam, Kalau Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Gatir Anyata. It means, in this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is chanting of the holy name of the Lord. There is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way. Simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one advances perfectly in spiritual life. This is the best process of success in life, and it's the most powerful way in Kali Yuga. So one should seriously chant the holy name of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The next devotional service is Smarana. So after one regularly performs the process of hearing and chanting, and after the core of one's heart is cleansed, Smaranam, remembering, is recommended. Smaranam is thinking of Krishna. Anyone can think of Krishna. We can see an image of Krishna and get the form within our heart and think of Krishna and meditate about Krishna. What is the difficulty here? It's really not that difficult. We hear about Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. And as soon as we hear and chant, we remember also. That is Smarana. Next is Padasevanam. So according to one's taste and strength, hearing and chanting and remembrance may be followed by Padasevanam. One obtains the perfection of remembering when one constantly thinks of lotus feet of Lord. Being intensely attached to thinking of Lord's lotus feet is called Padasevanam. When one is particularly adherent to this process of Padasevanam, this process gradually includes other processes, such as seeing the form of the Lord, touching the form of the Lord, circumambulating the form or the temple of the Lord, visiting such places like Jagannath Puri, Dwaraka, and Mathura to see the Lord's form, bathing in Ganges or Yamuna. All these are Padasevanam. The next is Archanam. Archanam is worshipping the deity. If anyone is interested in the process of Archanam, one must positively take the shelter of bona fide spiritual master and learn the process from him. There are many books of Archanam, especially Narada Pancharatra. In this stage, the Pancharatrika system is particularly recommended for Archana, which is deity worship. Srila Prabhupada gives a very nice example about this deity worship for us to understand about it. We may find some mailboxes on the street. If we post our letters in these boxes, they will naturally go to their destination without any difficulty. But any old box or an imitation box or a random box which is just kept, we might find somewhere, but which is not authorized by the post office, it will not do its work. If we put our letter in this box, it will not reach its destination. So we should put the letter in the correct box and then it will reach the destination. So similarly, God has an authorized representation in deity form, which is called Archa Vigraha. This Archa Vigraha is the incarnation of Supreme Lord. God will accept service through that form. The Lord is omnipotent, all-powerful. Therefore, by his incarnation as Archa Vigraha, he can accept the services of devotee just to make it convenient for the man in the conditional life. The next is Vandanam. Vandanam is offering prayers. Lord has unlimited transcendental qualities and opulences, and one who feels influenced by Lord's qualities in various activities offers prayers to the Lord. In this way, he becomes successful. In this connection, there are some offenses to be avoided, like to offer obeisances on one hand, to offer obeisances with one's body covered, to show one's back to the deity, to offer obeisances on the left side of the deity, to offer obeisances where very near to the deity. So there are many offenses, and Prabhupada has explained that in the purport of this verse. The next is Dasyam. Dasyam is to become servant of God. To clean the temple, to work for God, for Krishna is Dasyam. There is a statement in regards to assisting the Lord as a servant. After many, many thousands of births, when one comes to understand that he's an eternal servant of Krishna, one can deliver others from this universe. If one simply continues to think that he is an eternal servant of Krishna, even without performing any other process of devotional service, he can attain full success. Because just by doing so, by this feeling, one can perform all the 9 processes of devotional service. The next is the Sakyam. Sakyam is to accept Krishna as friend. In this stage, this is like a stage above the Dasya Rasa. The devotee accepts Krishna as a friend. This is not at all astonishing, for when a devotee is pure in heart, the opulence of his worship of deity diminishes and a spontaneous love for Krishna is manifested. In this regard, Sridhar Swami mentions Sridhama Vipra, who expressed himself his feeling of obligation, thinking, life after life, may I be connected with Krishna in this friendly attitude. And finally, the last one is Atmanivedanam, that is offering everything to Krishna, surrendering to Krishna, complete surrendering with our mind, body, activities, everything in service of Krishna. The best example of Atmanivedanam is Bali Maharaj. So these are the 9 devotional services. We can accept 1, 2, 3, or all 9 services. Even if we accept one service and perform sincerely, then our life will be perfect. With that, thank you, devotees, for giving me the opportunity today. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji, for the wonderful presentation of the 9 processes of devotional service. You took us through each one of them, giving examples of each one of them and what each one of the 9 processes what it is about, like Shravanam is about hearing about the Lord, Kirtanam is chanting, Smaranam thinking of the Lord, Padasevanam serving the Lord's lotus feet, and Archanam how bona fide deity form of the Lord should be worshipped. Vandanam is offering prayers to the Lord, and then Dasyam is one of the qualities that if one has, then one can perform all the 9 processes of devotional service. And then Sakyam is the friendship, it's a spontaneous love for Krishna is manifested. And then the final is Atmanivedanam, is a complete surrender. And you give examples for each one of the process who exemplifies this process of devotees who exemplify this process of different 9 processes. So thank you so much, Veena Mataji, for the wonderful presentation. And thank you, Sridevi Mataji, for also your wonderful presentation. With that, devotees will conclude day 2 of pre-celebrations. And we will meet tomorrow again, same time at 7 o'clock with more devotees presenting. Thank you. Hare Krishna.